Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Swift Challenger 645. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. So starting off first, you have your black hitch head at the front with your black lever that you have to have pulled up like so to then be able to wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar itself. What will happen is that black handle will snap down like so, push up that red button and expose a green ring. You then have your breakaway cable just here. Now legality states if you have an eye point, it has to be used. If not, to wrap it around the tow bar. You then have your handbrake here. To disengage it, all you have to do is press down. However, they can come up with a fair bit of force, so make sure your face isn't in the way. You then have the jockey wheel, which for the jockey wheel, when you're travelling, you twist that up, pull up the jockey wheel and then tighten it back into place, and this sits inside the A-frame. You then as well have 13-pin electric, so if your tow vehicle does have 7-pin adaptation, make sure to bring yourself an adapter. 2 points at the side and 2 points at the back, we have inserts for your legs. Now the caravan itself comes with a leg winder, or alternatively you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and a power drill just to make it that bit quicker. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs though, they are simply used for stabilisation. Then we're using our test equipment today. So first up, I have a red propane gas bottle. I'd always recommend propane over butane just because it has a better performance in winter. Connected onto that, we have a black gas hose. Now, black gas hoses will run for 5 years, and this one is production date 2025. That then connects onto this regulator here. You do that by hand tightening up as much as you physically can and then nipping it up gently using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as there is an O-ring inside the hose that can cause excessive pressure, causing it to crack, break and gas leaking out. However, once both sides are firmly connected, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. Next to that, we have your flue. Your flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Next to that, I have my test stack roll full of clean drinking water. And then we have your water pump. Your water pump connects in by just pressing in, and then to remove it, you have to press in on the trigger, give it a little wiggle and throw your phone over the place. Mint. Then you have this cap here to go over the top of the act roll to ensure no nastiness gets in. And at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through. If it's not sat at the bottom of the barrel, it can cause airlocks. So they do have a tendency to curl up, so my recommendation is to get some PVC tubing or something similar to that, wrap it around the actual pipe just so it's always nice and straight. Next to that, we have your battery locker. Now, this example does have a battery fitted and you need to connect it on top using 2 terminals. You either need a 12 or 13 mil spanner to do so. Then we have your plug-in for your mains just here. Mains plugs in nice and easy, then with a little cutout so that the mains lead can go through. No motor mover on this example. Then you have the 2 points where your wastewater is going to come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to then feed into a waste master that you can empty out at the appropriate point on site. And lastly, we have your toilet function. So first up, we have your cassette toilet. To remove it, press up on the orange handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you want to do when you're at the appropriate point on site is twist this head to the side, open up this cap like so, then just zoom out a little bit. What you want to do is tilt and vent. Now, my recommendation after you have done that procedure is to open up this compartment here, feed in some fresh water, shut it all back up, give it a shake and then again tilt and vent. What you want to do after that is on this cap here you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, back on, twist it back to the side, press it in, and what you want is this orange handle to sit behind those white teeth, as then it can't be removed without pressing up on that. Above that, we do have your flush tank. Now, your flush tank has a capacity to hold around 12 litres of water. However, I wouldn't recommend putting in any more than 10, as you don't want to overfill the compartment. You can also add some pink chemical, which works as a bleach without being corrosive and makes it smell nicer. Then, just up above here, got a little bung to drain out any remaining water from the flush tank, as you don't want to travel with that in. When you collect the caravan, it will be fully drained off. Then underneath your right hand side seat, you have all of this here, so I wouldn't recommend storing anything underneath. Underneath this panel, you can access your boiler, which you can draw back the panel if you ever need to do a reset. You have your flow jets here, which is what will pull through the water from the Accroll to the actual boiler itself. And then connected to that, you have all of these blue leads that also has this yellow drain valve. Facing in the position as it is now, that is going to allow the flow of water to come through. However, switch it up to the vertical position and that will drain off any remaining water inside the system. You will collect the caravan with that in the upright position. November to March, have that up permanently unless you're actively using the caravan, and anytime you come offside, give it a drain off. Then this silver box on the side is your battery charger. You can also see on the top here, you have your trips and your fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position as well. I would always recommend carrying some extra fuses across the caravan. You can then see on the top, heating and hot water and charger are both illuminated, showing that they're both operating and working. You have the reverse polarity setting if you ever go abroad, and a complete system shutdown button. Press that in, nothing inside the caravan is able to operate. Now, if you do need some more information on your trips and fuses, you can pull down this panel and there's a little sticker telling you what they represent. There is also a part inside your book pack as well. Then up above here, we have your Swift command board. So this is the main control panel for the caravan. So turning on and off, you use this button just here, and then you come to this home screen. It shows you the internal and external temperatures. Now, bear in mind that may differ to your outer panel. Humidity, time, date, day, and then the leisure battery charge. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to draw some water through. So we press the pump button. What happens is that water is drawn from outside of the actual Accroll itself into the boiler. From there, it will continually make a little bit of noise until the boiler is full. So what we'll do is we'll wait, and then I'll show you the water flowing through. Next up, we'll go awning light. So press in, yellow border appears around there. Go to the outside and you can see awning light is on there. Next, we have lighting. So this is for the interior lights of the caravan itself. So you've got two dimmers here. So dimmer 1 and dimmer 2. They represent pretty much the front and the back of the caravan. So you can see on dimmer 2, as I gradually pull this down, it gets a little bit darker. Push it up, and that is the absolute maximum just there. Then when you want to turn the lights off, you press in on there. You do have to use your individual light switches as well. Next, we have the amount of power coming into the caravan. So 14.5 volts are coming in through the leisure battery. However, as we're also plugged into mains, that is going to be the amount from the mains as well. So if you want a true representation of a leisure battery, you just have to have that on. Next to that, we have the amount coming from the solar, which is going to differ dependent on the actual day, and the amount coming from the vehicle, which is residually always going to show a little bit. Then we have the amount of AC current coming into the caravan, which you can also set a limit for. Then we have settings here, which is just your general stuff. So time, date, day, screen brightness, screen timeout, Bluetooth pairing, key beep, so when I press something in, it's going to beep, and a night mode as well. However, if I press and hold on this, it will then take me through to advanced settings. Now, with this, I do recommend that you do not alter anything that we have done here. The reason for that is that you can add stuff like your fridge and your heater. However, that can cause the caravan to trip out, and these do have a tendency that they need a leisure battery as an extra bit of support as well because of the fuses. Next to that, we have your radio, which you can cycle through your modes of off, FM, DAB, aux and off. And then just inside here we have your radio module where you can plug your aux in to the side. You can also connect to this panel via Bluetooth as well. And then apart from that, it works standard to any sort of radio with the tunings and presets. And just here we have your toilet operation, which is bog simple. Lift up the lid, press in the button, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push around any water inside the system. Then to remove your waste, press away on the handle, opens up the cassette, pull it back towards you to be able to shut it up. And anytime the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there telling you to empty. Now, as you can see here, I've got a nice stream of water. I currently don't have the heating set on, so I'm not going to switch it over to the hot tap. But what you're looking for is this nice, steady, continuous stream. Now, if you're not getting something like this, check your drain valve, check that the aqua is full of water, and that the strainer is at the bottom of the barrel. Pretty much, you want this to run for around about 30 seconds, dependent on what you're using. If you're using the shower, if you're using your other tap, check them as well. But this is what you're sort of looking for. Nice, steady and continuous, but you can see if I switched it over to hot, it gets a couple of coughs and splutters because there's no hot water in the system. Now, whatever water is let out from the tap will be replaced into the actual boiler itself. Next up, we have your outer control panel. So this is for your heating and your hot water. So it's currently on, which you can see signified by that green button. Press in on menu and you come to this screen. This is for the heating of the hot water. So first up is your heating setting, which you can go all the way up to a maximum of 30. Now, whatever you set it to, it will get to that temperature in around about an hour. On a nice sunny day like today, it will take about an hour, but if it's absolutely dog miserable, it will take a bit longer. You can also individually tap to go down, and it goes up and down in 0.5. Then next up, we have the water temperature. So it's either off as it is now, so no hot water, midway, which will get the water temperature to around 40 or 50 degrees, or full. Now what full does, it prioritizes heating the water in the boiler over heating the actual caravan itself. After 30 minutes, it will then drop it back down to midway. Then we have energy source. So you can either use 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts of electric. Now do be aware that some sites do not have 3 kilowatt capacity. Or you can use gas or a mixture of gas of 1, 2 and 3. So you've got the choice of gas, mains or both. Then pressing on this cog here, you go through to additional settings. Now I'm not going to run through the settings as we've set this to what we believe the most user friendly to be. However, if you'd like to have a look inside your book pack to see what they represent, please do so. This here is your home screen. Now, as mentioned, temperatures may differ between the screens. That light will continuously stay on when the heating is on. Press it in and it is now off. Then here we have your hot grill and oven. So lift up the lid, then all you've got to do, standard to any sort of gas cooker, press in the dial, twist it to the side and press in your igniter. Any other thing different, got an electric plate, spin that to whatever mark and it will get to temperature. Now it may be a case that these will light up and then cut out. That is natural, that is the gas making its way through its system. So this is what it looks like when they're all nice and lit. As you can see, nice blue clean continuous flames. Turn it back up to the central position and it's the same concept for your grill. You can see grill nice and lit, and finally your oven. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. Now make sure as well that this tray is not intruding on the igniter. And there you can see that's all nice and lit there as well. Only other real thing to note, if you're travelling with a gas bottle, make sure the bottle itself is turned off, and you need to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all of these are nice and cold to the touch. And just here we have your Dometic fridge. Now this is a two-way opening fridge, as you can see. However, if you did try and open it from the same side, well, two different sides at the same time, it will come off its hinges. You press and hold in on this button here to turn the fridge on, and then whatever it is set to, it will show. So Currently set on gas. Now for gas, I'd recommend running through all your hob, grill and oven first, just to make sure it's all working. Then to change your source, you press mode. So I'm going to press, and it's going to go over to gas. It's going to go over to mains even. So as you can see there, press it again, it goes to auto. Now auto switches to what the fridge thinks is the best source to use, in this case mains. Now when I press it again, it's going to go to that battery symbol. That battery symbol is only representative of 13-pin electric one towing. So when I press it, it's going to flash up and beep at me. That is a hazard. Then you have the amount of power coming into the fridge, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. 5 being the most powerful, so it is going to chill it the quickest. However, even on full capacity, it does take around 4 hours for the fridge to fully chill. As you can see inside, when the fridge is on, there is lights on. Then let's turn this off, so press and hold in. No more lights, fridge is off. Then this is how to recalibrate your Swift command screen. So if for whatever reason your Swift command screen is no longer wanting to operate, so you can't actually press in on any of the buttons, what you have to do is press and hold your thumb or finger, whatever it may be, onto the command panel until it turns off. However, you are keeping your thumb on in this instance. What will happen is that it will eventually get to a blue screen. So you've just got to keep on pressing and holding. It does take a little bit of time. If you do take your finger off for whatever reason, it will cancel this out. It will then tell you touch dots to calibrate, which you then just have to do. It will come up saying calibrated. Switch this back on, and then you're able to use your command screen as normal.